Hello. Hello, hello, hello. All right. Hi, Stan. Hi, Stevie. How are you? Um, welcome. Back, back. That's what we are. All right. Anything to report? Any questions? Anything to report before I go back to my station? I'm excited. I'm excited to practice. Hello. Um, have I met you before, Dove Liz? So hello, welcome. All right. So anyone have anything to say? Because once I go back there, I do not see anymore. I could kind of see stuff, but not really. So before I go to my post, anybody have anything to say? Let me quit this, make space. All right. Well, I guess I'll begin. All right, here we go. Okay. Oh, somebody else is here. Let me just see who it is. That is, Stevie. You didn't? Oh my God, Stevie. All right. Well, I got to figure that out because that's a couple of people have been saying that. So I know that there's some issues with that and things are going to get cleared up. Add it to the list. So one thing that's really exciting, the cable guy just left. And so hopefully my internet issues are behind us and we will have no issues with that because I've had a lot of issues in this past few months. And so we'll see what happens. Hopefully I'm coming in loud and clear. And that will remain the whole way through the practice. Okay, couple things to say is that this morning I was reading a lot of information. I wake up in the morning and just try to read. And so this morning I read some really interesting things. One of them was that when it comes to aging and being healthy as we age, that being involved in activities and never stopping in life is really important. That living is an actual action and a process. And so always making sure that we're doing something. And of course, we're here to practice physical asana to keep our body strong. And then also the breath work and meditation and the calming that happens. So one thing was that healthy aging has a lot to do with always being active. So not thinking that I get to a certain age and then I retire and that's it. I'm just going to sit and twiddle my thumbs, but rather what can I continue to do, continue to learn, continue to be involved in. So keeping the brain active is important. The other thing was flexibility and tightness in the body. And it was saying that flexibility and tightness is a function of the nervous system not feeling safe. And that really made me think about life and how we live our lives and all of the things that we're subjected to throughout our life and how injuries and issues, a stumble here, sprain or strain here, a broken bone here, whatever it is that happens, because it does happen. And the longer you're living, the more likely that you've been up against some things, that fear sets in our tissues. And so for that to be that raised awareness piece there, I would say even more than ever, when we come onto the ground, when we begin our practice, when we go to the place of grounding our mental energy into our body and bringing our awareness into our physical body, that's really important for the nervous system, for conveying safety, and for letting your body let go of some of that tension. And so that you can get more spaciousness and more flexibility to come in. Because more flexibility means more hydration, more transmission of nerves throughout your body. So better for balance, better for muscular stimulation, more communication of things to happen. And then for the joints to have more range of motion is better for pain management and for mobility. So those were a few things that I read this morning that I thought were really interesting, especially in the context of practicing yoga. So that is something we're going to bring into our practice today, is that. And so for today's practice, get your props handy. We're going to have a block and a strap and a blanket, getting yourself ready for what you're about to practice today. Doing whatever you can do, closing your eyes, being very connected to your body when you bring in the movement, because if there is fear, whether it's conscious and you're aware of it or subconscious fear, that's going to limit your range of motion and limit your flexibility. So we're going to set our body up right now. We're going to stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system, bring in a sense of safety into your body, and then we will do some movement to actually increase range of motion in the joints, in the muscles, and the tissues. So let's begin with taking your blanket and rolling up your blanket so that you have something to support your spine with. So you're going to roll up your blanket. We're going to do one of my favorites. This is kind of a way to take yesterday out of your body, or to take this morning out of your body, to take sitting out of your body. And so this right here, rolling up your blanket or towel or whatever you have into a really nice tube, and you may need something for your head. Let's see what that's like for you. But go ahead, and I'm going to move these off to the side. I'm going to move my props off. Okay. So having your blanket, or having your rolled up blanket onto the mat here, we're going to come onto this with the spine. You want your whole spine supported. And when we come down, we're going to stretch the chest, stretch the shoulder joint, which is a really precarious joint that ends up becoming an issue for so many people, is the shoulder joint. So when we're coming on that blanket and we're supporting our spine, arms are to the side. And then at some point, we may actually move the arms. But this is the position that's going to be happening when you're down on the ground. So you decide where the arm position is best for you. Sometimes you may need to be low because your shoulders prefer that. Sometimes you can come higher, 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 or even bending your elbows. What I'd like you to be careful of is don't bring your hands too close to your body. So this is not about this, or this. You want your hands to be farther away. The farther away the arms are, or the hands are, the more you're going to be bringing stretching into the chest and the shoulders. So have your blanket ready, come to sit to the side, come all the way down onto your blanket, let it be in your spine, and then arrange yourself. So you lift your tushy up. You could tilt your pelvis backwards and lengthen the low back if you'd like, and then place the sacrum and the tailbone on the ground. I like to keep my knees bent. For some of you, though, it may be a little bit more comfortable to straighten your legs. And then arms in the ground, try to slide the shoulder blades closer to your spine. And that'll really help with a big, deep opening. So the position here is to open up the chest and open up the shoulders. So go ahead and take your arms out to the side. Knees bent, legs straight, whatever your body prefers. And close your eyes and let yourself arrive. Closing your eyes, stay with your breath. Let your arms be out to the side. You're focusing on your breath and noticing what you notice. Back neck is nice and long. And then let your arms go to a place where you feel a stretch. So explore with your eyes closed. Explore by feeling your way into
the appropriate position for your body. Letting yourself come into a position that feels appropriate for you. You decide how much stretch you'd like here. And then press your arms into the ground, press your heart up towards the sky. And then let the posture do the work. So let the weight of your body go. Mouth is closed, breathing in and out through your nose. Start to pay attention to your breath. Feel the breath coming in the nostrils, down into your body. Mouth is closed, breathing to your chest. Try to breathe to the chest and feel the chest expand as much as you can. So really breathe into your ribs. Breathe up to the sky, out to the sides, and back towards the blanket. Bring your awareness to your right armpit area, side ribs and the armpit. Breathe to the right armpit, as if you could see the breath coming in and going there, and breathe so deep that you feel a stretch. And then bring your breath over to the left armpit. And then bring the breath down to your belly, below the ribs, all the way down to your belly. Feel it moving in your body. Feel the breath move to a different location. Now let's add a breath of peace. I'll count 5 on the inhale, 5 on the exhale. Evening out your breath. Take a breath to clear your lungs. Exhale. Let's begin. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Continue on your own counting, following the breath in, counting. Stay with counting, stay with feeling your breath moving in your body. Stay here, right here. Finishing up your last couple of breaths. Stay with the breath, stay with counting. Finishing up your last breath. Become an observer of your breath. Watch it happen. Notice where it goes. Notice how it feels. Bring your awareness to your head and neck. We're going to do some gentle side to side movement with the head. And since your head is on the blanket, there's going to be a downward movement of gravity, so a deeper stretch for the upper back and neck. Make sure that this is appropriate for you. So if you close your eyes, feel your way into this. Take a big inhale. And as you exhale, slowly let your head go towards one direction, feeling that stretch coming in. Be connected. Your body needs to feel safe in order to stretch. You come back to center on the inhale, and on the exhale, you gently move into the stretch. See if you could feel that going all the way down to your fingers. And then notice, are both sides the same? Do you feel the same muscle stretch on both sides? Make sure you exhale into the stretch. That stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system. And then stay on one side for a few breaths. On your exhale, let it be an acknowledgement that you're safe. On your next inhale, come back up to center and exhale into the other side. Exhaling, lengthening, entering the stretch with a sense of safety. On your next inhale, bring yourself back up to center. Let your head relax, let your body relax on your exhales. Then begin to wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Bringing yourself onto your side. Letting your body rest here on the side for a couple of breaths. Take your hand on the ground. Spread your fingers wide and really push strongly with the hand and the elbow, pushing away from the floor. Let that be the action that brings you up to seated.
I'd like to share my experience doing this so that maybe you were experiencing something similar, or to really understand the value of doing this, because I see this as the opposite of the way we live our lives every day. And if you incorporate connecting your mind and body with breath, and then if you do the neck rolls and you exhale into that deep stretch, there's so much tremendous healing that can take place from what we just did. There's the stretching of the front of your chest, so opening up the spine, taking sitting and forward movement out of your spine. And then there's all that opening in the shoulder and chest area, which is where your nerves come off of your head, your brain, to your fingers and your hands. And so for me, what I experienced there, for whatever reason, I've got a hip replacement here and I've got some scoliosis developing here in response to that injury and then replacement. I noticed so much more stretching on my left side. I even felt stretching all the way down into my wrist and my fingers. When I stretched my head to the right, I feel stretching in my ear, which is so crazy, but I feel stretching in my ear, my neck. I felt stretching all the way down here. And then when I came out of it, I felt cold in my hands, almost as if there was an impingement and a restriction of blood flow to my hand, which would cause it to get a little cold. So very interesting to understand your body and to understand, to be your own detective, because that is how you heal yourself. Then you realize, wow, I need to do this more often, or I need to stretch this more, or maybe I need to do this. And so becoming your own physical therapist, your own yoga therapist, your own chiropractor can be part of what really helps you stay healthy forever in your body. So raising your awareness to where is the asymmetry, where is the tightness, where do I need to stretch? And it's because we're a tensegrity unit, we are all connected. So your toe could be where you're tight, and that's going to cause a reaction. So for me, feeling that tightness in my ear, and then the makes me think of this zigzag pattern of my body trying to balance, because this is fake, this is plastic and metal, so it doesn't communicate. And now this is collapsing, which is going to make this follow. So just become your own detective, because then you could stack yourself and find that nice alignment throughout your day. And it's subtle and it's deep. And so repatterning your nervous system, repatterning function. So this is a really important healthy aging tool to add to your treasure chest of tools. So let's move on to the practice. Take your blanket, unfold your blanket. Let's get our props. Get your block and your strap for the practice. Bring them off to the side. Come on to your body. Let's come onto the tushy. Side to side to feel your pelvis, to feel the buttock bones, to feel the tailbone. And then maybe even coming down a little bit, but still lifting your chest. So making sure that down does not mean collapsed in your chest. Arms could be wherever. If you have shoulder or wrist issues, take your arms to a place they feel okay. Go back and forth, side to side. This is the base of your spine where the tailbone and the sacrum are. And then take your legs really wide. Let's move the legs here, starting to stretch your body. Let the leg bone move in. This is a hip stretch. Windshield wiper action for the legs. Let one stay in for a breath.
Feel that stretch here. And then come back to center. Let's let the other one go. In, chest is lifted. And then bring yourself back to center. Come up for a second. Bring the soles of the feet together. So you sit like this to take a break from your wrists and go side to side here on your pelvis, letting things settle, raising your awareness and bringing everything online communicatively in your body. And then take your hands, shake your hands. So let's come onto our back again. I like to do a little bit of stretching here, a little bit of reverse plank, see how this feels for you. Hands are on the ground. So do whatever is appropriate for you here with hands, but the really big important thing is you do not collapse in your chest, and especially if you have osteoporosis. Your hands are to the side, your feet are pretty wide, your hands are pretty wide. Exhale, inhale, lift, exhale to lower. So I have a really wide stance with my feet and with my hands. Thinking of your chest coming up, thinking of your pelvis coming up, pushing equally with both hands, both feet, lifting into this. And then one more, come up and stay up. Whatever that looks like for you. Push your fingertips into the floor, that'll help with the wrists. Push your feet into the floor, especially your heels. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself down. Come to sit like this so that you have one knee out to the side and one knee here. Take your hand on the ground and then sit nice and tall. Really try to push your body so that it's to the center and bring this hand of the knee that's here, the foot that's in the back, bring that hand forward. Getting a little stretch in the lower back, in the hips, in the spine. Take one more breath. And then let's go to the other side. So this leg comes in, this leg goes out. Your body weight is mostly on one buttock, and you're trying to get your torso. So feel your torso in space, trying to get your torso to come right out of your pelvis. Take your hand forward, the hand on the ground, sitting nice and tall. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself out. So let's come onto our back. Come onto your side. Reach your hand long. Bring yourself all the way down onto your blanket. Arrange your spine so that your shoulder blades come underneath your chest area. Really slide them towards the chest and lengthen your head. So we're going to begin with some spinal undulation, some raised body awareness, and do some core work to really fortify the structural aspect of your torso and of your body. So let's do a little here to tilt our pelvis, to move our pelvis. Take your hands on top of your pelvic bones and press one bone towards the ground at a time. Push the right side, then the left side. Be in your low back here and be in your sacrum, which is the lower spine embedded in the pelvis. So the knees are bent, should be able to have some decent movement of your pelvis, rocking side to side. Close your eyes. You may feel this in the back of the body, noticing what you notice here. This is an important movement for daily walk when we walk. And then bring yourself back to center. Now you could bring your heel of your hand onto the top part of your hip bone, and you're going to push one down at a time. So not so crazy, but trying to get this elevation on one side and then on the other. And your sacrum is in the ground, so feel there may be some stretching of the low back area, some of the pelvic area. Don't go so crazy. And then bring yourself back to center. The last movement, we're going to get the tilting forward and backwards of the pelvis. So the knees are bent. You should have some fluidity in your pelvis here. Kneecaps are up towards the sky. Try to tilt your pelvis backwards, so you try to push the top edge of your pelvis into the mat. The low back flattens into the mat. You feel pressure all the way to the lower ribs. Lower ribs are pushing back. And then you inhale to rock all the way forward to your tailbone. Low back comes off the ground, but your pelvis is still on the ground. Tilt your pelvis back, try to press the low back into the floor, and then rock towards the tailbone. Close your eyes, see if you can feel muscles stretching, some abdominal muscles, spinal muscles. And then bring yourself back to neutral. Take your hands behind your head. Clasp your hands behind your head. Elbows are out to the side. Feet are wide. Toes are pointing forward. Kneecaps are straight up towards the sky. Inhale. Press your arms into the ground. Low back moves away from the ground. Tailbone presses into the ground. That's your inhale. As you exhale, zipper up your core. Feel like you're zippering up a zipper. Zipper, zipper, zipper. And press your belly towards your spine. Flatten your low back into the floor, all the way to your lower ribs. Inhale, low back moves away from the ground. You rock towards your pelvis, towards the edge of the tailbone. And then you exhale, contract, flatten the low back into the ground. Inhale towards the tailbone. Exhale to flatten the low back into the floor. Let's add the upper body, so a little more core work here. Inhale. As you exhale, contract your core, zipper, zipper, zipper. Try to flatten the low back. Lift the upper body off the floor, elbows out to the side. Go slow. If you have osteoporosis, stay here. And if you don't, stay here as well. And then inhale to lower. So let's stay with the arms open, tip of the nose pointing up towards the sky for the first couple. Stay with this if you have osteoporosis. And if you do not have osteoporosis, on your next exhale and raising, you could bring your chin to your chest and your elbows towards each other. Inhale to lower. Exhale to rise. Go slow. Repatterning dysfunction and doing stronger work for your core and your spinal health. On your next one, you're going to stay up. So stay up. Either arms are out to the side or arms come together. And then inhale to lower. Take a break here. Strengthening the structural aspects of your spine and of your core and of trunk support, which will then be able to support your head above the back and your lower body below. So really important for structural work. Hands are behind your head still. You're going to keep your arms behind your head. We're going to do a little diagonal pattern here. So let's take an exhale and an inhale. Press the left elbow into the ground. Zipper up your body as you exhale to lift up, pointing the right elbow over towards the left knee, trying to flatten the left low back towards the ground. Inhale to lower. Go slow. Exhale, lift. Left elbow comes up over towards the right knee. Flatten the right low back into the ground. Inhale to lower. Let your elbow be reaching up towards the sky and over towards the side. Try to keep your torso nice and lengthened. Go slow, eyes are closed. Feel what you're doing. One more each side. And then bring yourself down. Eyes are closed. Let your hands go onto your belly. Let your body settle. Close your eyes. Bring your feet back to center. So the next thing we're going to do is core work and core and brain. So when you close your eyes, when you go slow, we're actually incorporating the whole body, and we have the ability to bring the brain in so that we could repattern dysfunction or deeply set function. So that real connected place, not just a subconscious movement, but a conscious movement. So the next one we're going to do is actually great for Alzheimer's prevention, for brain work. And so just to show you what this looks like, the key is that only one arm at a time moves, and that can be a real challenge. So with this, we do a diagonal where one leg goes and one arm goes, and then you come back up to center, keeping the other arm and leg stationary. So it's only one that move at a time. How far away you go from your body depends on how strong your core is to draw the weight of the leg back up safely. So you decide what's appropriate for you when you do this. The real key is pelvic stability and trunk stability. So feel the pressure of the sacrum and the tailbone right behind this part of your body, like below your belly button. Feel that. And then don't let your back fly away from the ground, because you need to zipper up your core in order to stabilize your pelvis. And this is isometric, which is the way we stand and sit and move throughout our day. So this is really nice for joint health, especially for back, for low back. Now be careful, if you have low back issues, this may not be the right one for you, going all the way here. For you, it may be tapping down to the ground. So being okay with whatever's appropriate for your body. Let's take the hands up, the knees are up. Where I notice people moving is the arm. So one arm will go back, and then when you try to bring this one up, this arm usually moves away in order to, it's something, there must be some wiring for the way we move in our bodies. So this is your opportunity to pattern function into your body. I like to close my eyes, take an exhale. Inhale, reach one leg and the opposite arm. Exhale, contract your core back to center. Try to let your spine not fly away from the ground. Go slow. Slow is advanced, slow is hard. And slow is effective. Let's go with one more each side. And then draw your knees into your chest. Rock side to side across the top of the back of the pelvis. Low back presses into the ground. When we strengthen the core, the low back is the back of the core. So we got to be careful that we don't poke the monster of pain, that we're very connected to what we're doing. Let's stretch the tushy and the low back. Take the right ankle on top of the left. And then you could lift up and reach around the side of your body to grab your feet. Draw the feet to the side and then strongly pull the legs towards your body. The right leg is on the top, pushing down onto that left leg. So rock 1 inch towards the left. So not a lot, 1 inch, and push that left low back towards the ground. Rock back and forth across the top of the left side of your pelvis. Really draw those knees in. And then come back to center. Let's switch. So take the left leg on top of the right. Reach up around the side, holding onto the feet, separate the feet. Draw the legs towards your body, the knees towards your chest. Now the left leg is pushing on the right, so the right lower back goes towards the ground, pushing your body a little to the right and then rocking across the top edge of the right side of your pelvis. Bring yourself back to center. Take your feet onto the mat. Bring your hands onto your tummy. Close your eyes. Feel your body. Notice what you notice. So let's stretch this part of your body here. Important because there's a lot of nerves that come from the brain down to the lower limbs. And there's a pathway here that a lot of them travel. Come off the base of the spine and then down the side of the legs or the inner thighs. So let's stretch this part of the body. So walk your feet closer to your body. Take your right leg over your left and then let the back of the right thigh touch the top of the left leg. Bring your arms to the side because this is going to help to lock in your chest and your rib cage. And you could slide your shoulder blades towards the center to give you a little bit more support. Let's walk the left foot over to the left a little bit. Then you're going to take an exhale, long waist. So push the right leg away from you with the muscles inside your body. And then inhale over to the left slowly. Feel that stretch on the right side. Exhale, zipper up your core, bring your legs back to center. Inhale, push the leg away, and then let it lengthen over to the left on the inhale. Exhale, back to center. One more, push the leg away, lengthen over to the left. Stay here. Push your left hand into the floor to help support the weight of your body. Lengthen your right waist. Breathe to your right waist, your right low back, your right hip. Push your belly button towards your spine to protect your low back. Feel your left buttock on the ground. One more breath. And then bring yourself back up to center. Bring your legs into neutral. Left knee in, left leg on top of the right. Then walk your foot over to the right a little bit. Exhale, lengthen your left waist. And then inhale, let the leg go to the right. Exhale back to center. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale back to center. One more. Inhale to lengthen. Stay here. Couple breaths. Lengthening the left waist, breathing to left waist, left low back, left hip. And then bring yourself. Lift your pelvis up, let your pelvis go back down. Take your hands on your waist, take your hands on your belly. Take a couple of breaths. Reach for your strap. Bring the strap on the right foot. Take your strap in your left hand. Strap is in the left hand, let the right hand go to the side. Keep your left knee bent, keep your right leg up pretty high. And then you're gonna inhale over to the left, feel that strong stretch on the right side, and exhale back to center. Sole of the foot is up towards the sky. Inhale, let your foot go as one unit. So it's the whole big toe edge that moves over to the side. Your kneecap is pointing back. You inhale into the stretch. Be careful if you have a posterior hip replacement. And then one more. Stay here. Try to push the big toe towards the left. A little internal rotation, even more intensity here. Lengthen your right waist. Push your right leg away from you with the muscles inside your body. Push your belly button towards your spine to protect your low back. And then try to keep your leg pretty high. Don't let it go down away from you. Keep it pretty high so you are in that hip. This is good for sciatica. If you get sciatic pain, this is the pathway that the nerves for sciatica travel. So stretching the tissues here, feel what feels appropriate for you in terms of how much stretching you could do. And then bring yourself back to center. Take your straps, crisscross your strap so that you hold the left strap in the right hand, the right strap in the left hand. And then try to keep your legs straight here. Your left knee is bent. The wall behind you. Maybe you feel that lower pressing into the floor, the top of the back, the pelvis pressing into the floor. Just experience what you experience here. Feeling that stretch at the hamstring. Eyes open or eyes closed, conveying safety to your body. Push your heel up towards the sky. That'll intensify that stretch behind your leg if you need that. One more breath. And then bring yourself back to neutral. Bend the right leg, take the strap off. Close your eyes for a second. Let your awareness go to your right leg, your right foot, your right waist, your right low back. And then bring your awareness over to the left side, the left foot, the left leg, the left low back. See if you could feel a difference. See if you could feel that energetic flow in the right side because you stretched the right side. And then draw the knee into your chest, the left knee. Left knee in, take the strap on the left foot and hold the strap with the right hand. Right knee is bent. Keep that left leg high. Posterior hip replacements, just pay attention to the tension you create in the side of your body when you do this. Exhale. And then inhale, it's the whole big toe edge of the foot that's moving to the right. And then exhale back to center. Go slow. Feel the stretch coming into the side of the leg. This is your tensor fascia lata and iliotibial band. It's a very thick band of connective tissue holding your leg onto your hip. It's a really important area, and it translates to low back, hip, and knee health. And below, ankles and feet. You inhale into the stretch, you exhale to release. Come into the stretch and hold. If you want to point your big toe a little bit towards the right, wouldn't recommend that for posterior hip replacements. That means your incision's on the side of your body. Doing that straight leg over is what I'd recommend, with the inner edge of the big toe side without adding a little internal rotation, which is going to put more pressure on the posterior hip. Close your eyes, feel what you're feeling. Long body on the left side. Bring in safety to your hip. Tightness has a lot to do with fear. So be very connected now to transmit safety and release. And then bring yourself back to center. Take the strap, crisscross the strap, like you feel it hugging your foot. It kind of feels nice, like you're hugging your foot. And then you're going to straighten that leg and draw that leg back towards the wall behind you. Feel that stretch coming in the back of the leg, where the leg attaches to your body. You can lift your head up and lengthen your neck. Sole of the foot is up towards the sky. Press the center of your heel up towards the sky to deepen the stretch. Take one more breath. And then release. Hands on the belly. Close your eyes. Let that integrate into your body. Let's move on to bridge, strengthening the spine, strengthening the back of the body. Bring the block between your knees, walk your feet closer to your body, and then take the blanket away. Lengthen your head so your neck is long, and then roll side to side with your upper body right by the shoulder blade area, so you could slide the shoulder blades closer to the spine and lengthen your neck. Arms are down alongside your body, or you could put them here. The arms or the upper arm bone are going to press into the ground to help lift the weight of the rib cage up away from the ground, bending your spine as much as you can, stretching the front of your spine, using the back of your body to push away from the ground to strengthen the muscles of the back of the body. Let's take an exhale. Press the low back towards the floor, squeeze the block. Inhale to lift, pushing away from the ground. Close your eyes, feel your spine moving and stretching and opening the front of the spine. Exhale to place the spine back down onto the ground. Try to go one vertebra at a time. Inhale, squeeze the block, squeeze the tushy, lift. Exhale to lower. Inhale. And exhale. You inhale to lift. You exhale to lower. On your next one, you're going to squeeze the block, squeeze the tushy, flatten the low back. Inhale strongly. Lift, lift, lift. Narrow across the top. Push your arms into the ground. Push your feet into the ground. Close your eyes. Really stretch the front of your body. Reach your knees away from you. Take one more breath. And then slowly bringing yourself down. Lift up onto your tippy toes. Lengthen your low back. Let yourself hover before you put your pelvis onto the ground. So really feel like you're pulling your pelvis away from your ribs. Stretch your low back here. Push your belly button towards your spine. Strong posterior pelvic tilt to lengthen the back of your body. And then lower down. Blanket back underneath your head. Block out to the side. Hands on the belly. Let's draw the knees into the chest. Come on to your side. Take your hands on the ground. You're going to actively push away to bring yourself up. And then clear your space. So let's take the blanket into the middle of the mat. Come onto the blanket with all fours. Take your hands really far forward so you're not bending your wrists too much. And spread your fingers so they're in the ground. Walk your knees a little wider. Start to move around in your joints side to side. You could close your eyes if you'd like. Bring yourself back to center. Bring yourself forward. Bring yourself back. Let your head be active. Don't let it flop. So keep the muscles of the upper back and neck engaged. When you go back, try to lead with your tailbone and push your belly button towards your lower back. Belly to low back to kind of flatten out the low back so you could stretch the low back when you're moving back. And if your hands are pretty far forward and you keep your arms straight and they're pretty wide, you'll start to stretch your arms and your armpit area. And your shoulders, so make sure that feels okay for you. And then bring yourself all the way up. Come all the way up. So when we add weight bearing to stretching, it deepens the stretch. So being careful when you start to add weight, if that's appropriate for you. Let your wrists be really floppy here. So we're going to do some things with our wrists on the ground. If you have wrist issues, you could roll up the front of your mat. It's the bend of the wrist joint. It's this L shape that becomes aggravating. It's also something we need to work towards bringing into our body, because if you do need to put your hands down to brace yourself, we want to have as much flexibility in the wrist as possible to minimize fractures. So minimizing that bend, as long as you need to, while you're working on getting more flexibility in your wrist, you could roll up your mat or get a wedge prop or something for that. So let's come on to all fours. This is called spinal balance, and this to me is an amazing way to test your ability to balance. And we're close to the floor so that the likelihood of falling is not so scary. So it's a great way to test yourself with balance. Take one leg back and take one hand forward. Then you're going to lift your hand off the ground and lift your leg off the ground. Try to be as high as you can off your body and let your head be active. So if you need to put a hand down or a foot down, you can really reach long here, strengthening the back of the body, the postural muscles. Activate your core, push your belly button up towards your spine to stabilize your lower trunk. If you want to add a little challenge, try to take the foot off the floor, the back foot, so you're on your kneecap or your lower leg. If you want to add a little more challenge, you could take your opposite leg and opposite arm out to the side, challenging the center of your body to manage your weight distribution in a diagonal sense. And then bring yourself back to center, bring your hand down, bring your knee down. Push away from the ground, slide the opposite hand and the opposite leg down, and inhale to lift up into spinal balance. Noticing here, is this easy or not? Adding challenge if that's appropriate for you. Foot comes off. Arm and leg go into the side. Really challenge yourself. Activate your core. And then bring yourself back to center. Bring yourself out. And bring yourself all the way back up. Notice there if you feel the core, if you feel your back muscles when you do that. Take your hands, move your hands, and then shake your wrists. So I'd like to do, so let's go into a dolphin plank to really strengthen the front of the body, strengthening the core, which is protective for the low back. The real important thing here is that this curve that comes into the low back, this can be the pelvis tilting forward. So we want to try to neutralize the pelvis or really work to strongly tilt the pelvis backward. This is tremendous to learn this here. So the tailbone goes down, and the way you get that is you turn on your core muscles. The pubis bone is down here. So if you think of lifting your pubis bone up towards your belly, lower ribs going down towards the back of the spine and wrapping in with your core. So zippering up action or squeezing in the center of your body, a big orange that would be in your tummy, squeezing that so that you flatten out the low back, really flattening out this, pushing the belly towards the low back. So we're going to come into the dolphin. So let's grab our block for this. So having the block helps to establish the upper body so that you really stabilize the upper trunk. And the elbows are at this distance, which is why the block is the perfect thing to do here, as opposed to the arms being out to the side. This does not allow the shoulder girdle to fully support you in the way that it does when the elbows are underneath. So bringing the block onto the ground in front of you, the elbows directly underneath the shoulders, and then start to activate the core. So zippering up the belly, trying to flatten out the low back, pointing the tailbone back, digging your hands into the floor. This is a modification of a dolphin. Really let it be the low back that comes into flexion. Heart is still opening forward, head is active. Push away from the ground with your lower legs, push away from the ground with your arms, and then try to slide the elbows towards the kneecaps, as if you were trying to roll up into a ball. Dig the knees into the ground and the elbows and draw them towards each other. Close your eyes. Try to push the top of the pelvis up towards the sky. One more breath. And then bring your pelvis down onto the ground. Block off to the side. Elbows underneath. Let them come closer so they're closer to your heart. Hands are down the ground. Let your toenails touch the ground. You could go wider here with your legs if your low back is not happy. Push your hands into the ground. Pull your ribs away from your pelvis. Stretch your belly here. Let your belly be soft and breathe down to your belly as if you're trying to press the low belly towards the ground. So breathe really deeply all the way down to the belly. See if you could feel extra stretching taking place. Exhale. And as you inhale, look over one shoulder towards the feet. And then back to center. Look over the other shoulder towards the ankle. Back to center. One more. And then from here, walk your feet together, roll onto one side, bend your knees, and then keep your front spine nice and long as you push yourself up to a seated position. Take your blanket to the top of your mat. Coming onto your bottom. Coming all the way back down onto the ground. So have your blanket be really small fold or even no blanket whatsoever. We're going to take the block, walk the feet closer to the body, and lift the pelvis up to let the back of the pelvis touch the edge of the block and to let the rest of your pelvis rest on the block. This will stretch some of the pelvic bones and ligaments. You can take your hands on your hip bones, pressing one side and then the other. Bring your hands alongside your body, shoulder blades towards the spine. Rest in this inversion. Let the blood come back to the heart and to the brain. Take one more breath. And then walk your feet closer, take the block out, blanket back under your head if it's not there already. Bring your knees to your chest. And then bring yourself into integration, Shavasana. Legs are straight, arms are to the side, letting everything settle, all that repatterning into your body. Gently begin to deepen your breath. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Bending your knees, draw your knees into your chest. Bring yourself onto your side. Pushing yourself up.
Let's settle the body, settle the mind with humming. Bring your hands together, heart to hands, hands to heart. Lengthen the back of the neck. Exhale. Inhale. In gratitude, thank you. Namaste. So I hope that the slower practice helps you connect that mind-body connection and convey to your nervous system that everything is okay that you're doing. So you can repattern dysfunction or move beyond injuries, and whether it's injury now, injury a year ago, 5 years ago, or injury 30 years ago that's still stuck in your tissues. All right, I feel super mellow. Let me see. Hi, Carolyn. Nancy, better late than never. Hi, Tatiana. Oh my gosh. Okay. There's a newsletter. I'm going to talk to my husband right after I get out of here on this. But if you could email me. Well, I have your email, Tatiana. I'm going to tell him. But on my website, There's a newsletter. I'm going to talk to Scott about that because a couple of people have told me they're not getting it and he keeps fudging with things, I think. I don't know if it's his fault or not. But anyway, all right, I'll look into that. All right, thank you, everyone. Nancy, this would be good for you. Hope that was. All right, I'll see you all later. Yeah, I know, Stevie. Mellow is good. Yeah, but effective. Bye.